So, if you guys remember, just a few weeks ago was the latest Karen video.
Like the Jar Jar Binks of beverages. I'd rather drink a scoop of slime from Jabba the Hutt's morning breath.
Which, of course, by the way, if you haven't seen that one, be sure to go check it out. It's a really good one, you know, kind of Starbucks themed. Where else would a Karen be if not a Starbucks? Or, Death Starbucks. Easy, so then we can avoid the copyright issues. And at the end of that video, I asked you guys to let me know what your craziest Karen stories were. Well, after reading through a bunch of your guys' stories, I thought it would be really fun to share together some of your guys' craziest Karen stories. So let's go ahead and get started. My aunt is unfortunately a Karen who changed boyfriends so many times since I was born, and before that, I can't keep up with their names. I like that little detail just because I feel like this doesn't really have a part to do with the story, but it's just like describing who this person is. Anyways, my mom's and aunt's birthdays are like 3 days apart, and my mom hates when her sister decides when to do parties when they're both near or during the week, but almost never on my mom's actual day. My mom had enough once, so she made her own party herself at a restaurant without telling her, inviting the rest of the family. We were 10 people on that evening. My aunt kept calling home on my mom's cell phone, my uncle's, anyone else she can think about to know when their party would happen. Unfortunately for us, my grandmother's sister couldn't come that night, and she answered to then tell her my mom is having her party that night. I can see where this is going just because there's obviously some type of rival between these two sisters, but of course finding out the entire family's doing this without her, I mean, I could see her already flipping out. So something that my aunt hates because that means less attention to her Majesty, the Queen of the Universe. I love the face there, by the way. So when she knew where we were all gathered, she came over to the restaurant, and before anyone could even see her, she screamed directly at my mom, then at my grandmother, then at the staff for trying to calm the situation. It ended up with assault and destruction of the restaurant property? Jeez, man. But she had spent some quality time at the jail? So wait, you mean that night? Or like she's had experience in jail already? Seeing how it escalated to that pretty quick, at least based on your story, I wouldn't doubt that she's been in jail multiple times. The restaurant even gave us a new champagne bottle because my aunt threw the first one at the window. Unfortunately, she is back in society now, but we don't get to see her much, which is good. I would imagine. I would say that is probably a good outcome. She even spent the months of December to February out of Quebec, usually either staying in Florida or Texas, depending on the boyfriends at the moment. I hope nothing like this will happen again though. It was a show, but a bad one. I don't talk to her much, but my mom still does, but she knows I don't want to hear from her unless it's to warn me that she's coming over or if she's sick. I hope you didn't have too many misadventures with Karens, Larry, but if you did, I'm glad to see you still strong and happy. Well, thank you. I mean, I have had a few encounters myself. I mean, who hasn't had an encounter with a Karen yet? I can get you your refund.
I want to see your manager.
Ma'am, please, if you could just simply...
I said I want to see your manager.
But yes, I'm still standing strong, and just like everything else in this world, the more that it beats down on us, the stronger it actually makes us. So if you have multiple Karen badges on your shirt, congrats. Alright, moving on to the next story. My experience with a Karen was a tourist Karen that mistook me for a retail worker at a shopping mall. It still baffles me how. I was wearing cargo shorts, a t-shirt with a band logo, and a black vest with back metal band tags, while the retail workers had a blue uniform and that time orange vest with their own logo on it. Honestly, you know, I'm not surprised about that because I think at this point, if anybody looks lower or younger to a Karen, like I think they automatically think they just work there, or just because, again, because they feel like they're underneath them, that they can just tell somebody something and then they'll just go do it. Just my 2 cents, but moving on. At the time, I was with a friend searching for a nice present for my girlfriend when I saw an American version of an overweight Cruella de Vil with blonde Karen hairstyle asking something. I don't really remember what it was, my memory's a bit hazy on what happened. As I said to my friend, this must be one of those so-called Karens in my own language, so that probably the only thing she could understand was the one word Karen. Next thing I felt something hitting the side of my head and totally blacked out. Holy crap, dude. I woke up the same day in the nearest hospital and found out what happened. As I got knocked out from her purse, I fell into a perfume stand back first. Then she pushed my friend, causing him to also fall, the back of his head hitting the metal shelf and opening a really nasty wound. Oof, man. A retail worker happened to see the situation and alarmed the guards. Then a bit later, they caught up with her at the airport with an arrest warrant. Man, guessing she wanted to extend her vacation a bit longer. The last thing I heard was that she wanted to suffer her sentence in her own country. Wow, this just got really serious. And that's just the thing when it comes to Karens. They think they can just do whatever they want and have no consequences. They can say whatever they want, touch whoever they want, push whoever they want, and nothing's gonna come of it because they feel they're in the right. I think we've learned that plenty of times from Karen the Stormtrooper. Oh, but boy, did she suffer the consequences.
But you did not just drop me into the pit.
You know, I thought walking alongside Darth Vader in the hallways of the Death Star was terrifying, but at any moment a Karen could just swing her purse and knock you out instantaneously? That's a whole new level. Also, as a quick reminder, be sure to let me know your Karen story, because I would love to check them out, and I might actually make this a regular thing on this channel. Because if this video goes well, which, by the way, if you want it to go well, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well. I thought about actually making this a normal thing here on this channel, going through some of your Karen stories. So go ahead and type up your experiences, your stories, whatever encounter you had with a Karen, that way I can check them out later, and it might be featured in another video. Alright, moving on to the next story. I was working for a large home improvement retailer. I had a customer who could not understand that if you take a filter that is a 16 by 24 and rotate it 90 degrees, it magically is now a 24 by 16. So whatever filter this is, I guess on the product that she has, it says that it's a 24 by 16, but for some reason when it says 16 by 24, she feels that it's a different size and it's not gonna work. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because, I mean, Karens feel like they're the most smartest creatures in the universe, but when it comes to basic math, or should I just say basic logic, they fall short. I can see that. So I had to get a male coworker to explain this to her, and she still didn't believe us because the label said 16 by 24. We even got a tape measure out and showed her. So take away the numbers and let's actually get a tape measure and actually demonstrate this in the physical space, and she still doesn't get it. I mean, this can be put onto many different things, especially like say food industries. It's like no matter what you throw into the order, like it still doesn't compute in their minds. Like I can see this already, like say there was a deal for like a 2 for 10, but maybe working the cash register, it's just easier for you to type in 10 instead of putting in 2 times 5 and then it comes out 10. And they could see this and be like, no, I want the 2 for 10. And then you could say, no, I mean, it's still $10. I just put it in as 10. And then they'll say, but I want the 2 for 10. Like it's just a vicious cycle. So this story actually more sounds like it's coming from a Karen, but let's hear her out. Do you want to know my Karen story? I live the story almost every day. My name is actually Karen, and the internet has decided my name is a synonym for, okay, well, we can't say that here. I was born before the internet became a pervasive beast that it is, and my name used to mean pure or purity. Okay, first off, let's just stop right there for a minute, because let's just say, I mean, that is such a Karen move just to summarize everything just like that. Because here's the deal, yes, there's things that go on the internet that are maybe a little unfair, but in reality, everybody, just because you met somebody and their name is Karen, we don't automatically assume you're gonna cause problems. It's kind of like that scene from Big Bang Theory when he talks about hot tubs and jacuzzis, because jacuzzi is more of a brand, and hot tub is just a word to help describe what a jacuzzi is. So all jacuzzis are hot tubs, but not all hot tubs are jacuzzis.
Is that like all thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs? Surprisingly, yes.
It's the same thing for Karen. Just because your name's Karen doesn't mean you're gonna cause a problem or we're gonna judge you immediately. But depending on your actions and what you do, you would be considered a Karen. Also, by the way, I don't think it ever meant pure or purity. I'm not even gonna Google it. I don't think that's true. I've seriously considered legally changing my name because it's so depressing to hear your actual name brought up whenever people complain about other people's bad behavior. Now, I understand that to a point, but at the same time, I mean, every workspace has like a person who is like the worst to work around, and that name could be anything. It could be Carl.
We didn't all miss you. Hey, nobody asked you, Carl.
And so like in that office or in that warehouse or wherever it is you're working, you know, Carl is basically referred to as basically the person nobody wants to work for or work with. You'll hear other phrases, you know, during the workday be like, ugh, we have another Carl on our hands, because everybody at that place knows what Carl means. So we got one more story to go over here. I spent a few unfortunate years as a floor lead at Target right out of college. One weekend night, I end up having to do a return because I got super unlucky and there was no one else available as they were all cashiering. So Karen walks up with a god-awful piece of clothing that I recognize as it had recently been in my department. It had gone on clearance and then it had been shipped out to Goodwill/thrift donation. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know they did that. Well, this Karen firmly insisted that her boyfriend had bought it for her brand new just that week and she wanted a full refund. The big problem being that those items had been out of the store longer than that and we no longer had the code in store to do a return. I suppose most customer service reps would have just given her something, but I knew what I knew and I dug my heels in. Good for you, because I mean, we can't just be letting these Karens walk all over the place. That's the thing, they have to learn the word no, that sometimes things just don't go your way, unfortunately. She was shouting at me. Wow, it's a big surprise. I did not see that coming, that a Karen is shouting because she's not getting her way. It honestly wouldn't be a Karen story if there wasn't some type of shouting. So by the time the store manager came in and pulled me off the counter to placate her, I was folding a clothing table when she went marching on by later and proudly called me, man, what is, that is like their favorite word, I swear, where she was sure everyone around us could hear. I didn't care. I knew her boyfriend had either bought her discount garbage at thrift and lied to her, or she was trying to pull a fast one and I didn't give in. Good for you. And that actually does make sense. I could see that the boyfriend may be buying something that normally costs, let's say 30-40 bucks, but he bought it for say 12 at thrift, which no matter what, I mean, it's still a nice t-shirt, so why does it matter? But he was probably just trying to get some points or, you know, make it look like he was actually spending a little bit more on her, but obviously it was not her taste, so she was like, I would just rather have the money. Alrighty guys, those were some of the stories that you guys commented in the recent Karen video, which again, by the way, if you haven't seen it, be sure to go check it out. It's the Death Starbucks video. This one does have a little bit more of a twist to it, so be sure to go check it out. And also again, put in the comments your guys' craziest Karen stories if this video goes well, and again, if you want to go well, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I plan on doing some more of these videos in the future. And may the Force be with you.